Hello, Emily.
Hello.
Would you like to tell everyone what we're making today and where they can find this recipe?
Hello, everybody. Today we're making a spiced white ragu from Pasta Lover's Diary, which is my new pasta ebook dedicated to, obviously, all things pasta. It is an herby, delicious ragu, kind of based on one of my favorite dishes, which are khinkali. They're a Georgian dumpling. They're super juicy and spiced, filled with cracked pepper, chili flakes, cilantro, the works. So that is what inspired the ragu we're making today.
And you guys all know my rules. If it's too complicated, I'm not doing it. So it's definitely an easy recipe. Definitely not, although I forgot one thing, it's okay. Not hard ingredients to find. Well, the pasta itself, we want to talk about that because that was hard to find. But like, it works with any pasta, you know.
100%. Honestly, the whole spirit of this cookbook is to really use, I know I was giving Jeremy a hard time on my stories, but the spirit of the cookbook is to just use what you can find, use what you have. I'm actually using rigatoni today because I couldn't find tortiglione.
So I found this shape. It's bigger than the rigatoni, so I thought it was close enough because that's what.
Is it called packery?
Yes, it is called packery.
Okay, cool. You ready, Jeremy? Okay, so you have packery.
Maybe.
Jeremy has packery, which is a nice tube-like pasta. I have rigatoni. My rule of thumb with the book is you can kind of use whatever pasta you have, but I appreciate if people stay within the general category. So I originally made this recipe with tortiglione, which is very similar to rigatoni. Just use a tubey pasta. It works. Jeremy's using packery, and it looks like he got a really good quality packery. The way you know it's good quality is that you can tell that the outside of the pasta kind of looks whitish and porous in its texture, and that means it was cut with a bronze die. So while you need fresh pasta and roll it and cut it, dry pasta is extruded through metal dies. Bronze dies are the highest quality, and they rough up the surface of the pasta so that it takes on sauce perfectly. That is the lesson of the day.
Yes.
So we're gonna start by heating up about 2 tablespoons of butter in our skillet.
Got some butter going
Sometimes
on.
when we do this, I feel like we're doing back-to-back chef, and I'm Carla, and I'm trying to get you to do what I want you to do.
That is true. I can't really see what you're doing, so it's exactly like that. But Appetit stole my idea. God damn it.
They did. We've been doing this since the dawn of time. All right, Jeremy, how are we doing? Did you get your butter in your skillet yet?
Butter's in the skillet.
Great. Now that it should be a little bit melty, we're going to add onion. We're using about half of a diced onion.
Eyeball it.
Jeremy's motto life. But although, actually, Jeremy, that was the hardest part of writing this book because I eyeball literally everything. So
you gotta test.
Yeah,
it's
you
interesting. What's really interesting too, I've spoken a lot to Stephanie Vanius, is the one who helps Bobby write the cookbooks, and the amount of testing she has to do is okay, this works in my oven in New York City in doing this, but what if you are in Denver where the elevation is 5,000 miles up and this is a bread recipe where everything's completely different? There's so many variables.
So who is this?
Who helps write Bobby's cookbooks. If you're going to do a bread recipe, you can't just do what works in your apartment because that's not
100%.
what works everywhere else. It's so wild. The testing has to go in to make sure yes, there's always going to be variations, but to limit how many variations are to most recipes so that you get as close to this as possible is really interesting to me.
That is, I love that, and I hope that one day I get a real book deal and I can go through all those bells and whistles, but I was a one-woman show, so I tested each recipe several times, but I tested it in Brazil, so I don't even know how they work in New York. I'm gonna cook them when I come back. The butter here is different, things here.
It's almost winter in Brazil. It's even more confusing.
Yeah, everything's confusing. It is. We're about to enter winter. It's actually been kind of cold. I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now outside.
It's 80 degrees and humid in New York City. I'm not leaving my apartment anymore. I'm going to leave my apartment less now than I did when we were in hardcore lockdown.
Oh my God, I know you are. Wait, Jeremy, do you have your garlic?
I got the garlic.
Is yours already minced?
I minced it. How much garlic am I adding to it?
We're doing 2 cloves.
I did more garlic than you need to, but that's fine. Just going to taste garlicky, which I enjoy. Dude, I got
Okay. What is that? Mr. Black? Oh, is that Japanese? Oh, what is that? That's a Japanese thing.
Yeah, so it's
All the
interesting
vending
is,
machines in Japan.
so it's interesting is this is the one from Japanese market, so it's one that's actually from Japan. But I ordered the same brand from Amazon, and I spoke to them on DM. It is not exactly the same drink, but like it's close enough. But if you want the real one, you have to find it at Japanese market.
Oh, that's so cool. I
So
love
many
those
facts
things.
for you guys today.
So many. I like to add spices in with the onions because I think that when they cook in the butter, they kind of release more aromas, and they don't toast up because it's not dry, but I don't know. I just do it, okay? So just do it because I said so. We're adding a half teaspoon of chili flakes. If you don't like spice, use less than a half a teaspoon. We're gonna add a half teaspoon of cumin, and then a quarter teaspoon of paprika. Okay, so Jeremy.
Yes.
Next steps. Throw the meat in, and then kind of just break it up. Perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna do this thing called deglazing. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we're gonna take a cup of our broth,
Yep.
throw it in there. It's gonna sizzle and be loud, and that's what you want, because when you throw a liquid into a hot pan, you help lift all the browned bits of flavor from that pan and incorporate them into whatever you're making.
What kind of broth did you use?
I think I'm using beef broth, but I don't think it matters too much.
I like chicken.
Chicken's great. Chicken's great. I'm sure vegetable would be great as well.
Whatever you want.
So the last things we have to add to the sauce are our herbs and our aromatics, and then the cream, which is what makes it a white ragu.
I got real cream for you, Emily. You know I don't like drinking real milk.
You did? Oh my God, Jeremy, put it, please, 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 just do me a favor and put it in your coffee and acknowledge how much better it is.
I'm actually not putting heavy cream into my coffee, Emily.
I use heavy cream in my coffee every single day. It makes my morning.
It's too much.
It's delicious.
Oat milk is great.
No, it's not.
You know what I've been drinking? I got the oat milk, but I've been drinking every day macadamia milk. It's one of the better milks for the environment, and it tastes very good.
Oh, really? Listen, I'm all for it. I just am I love, taste-wise, nothing beats like half and half and heavy cream for me. But half and half is not a thing. So typically I've just been using heavy cream here, and then sometimes I dilute it with milk, but rarely, because I just like to indulge in the mornings, you know? And then throw in your bay leaves.
How many bay leaves did you put in?
I just put in 2.
All right. Yeah, I'll go.
And BD.
I'll go.
Okay, Jeremy, do you have your cilantro at the ready?
Yep. It's right next to me.
All right, so throw in the cilantro. So at this point, Jeremy,
Mm-hmm.
if you have time, you can throw it in. Now, I know I said this earlier, but the dish that we're making is based on one of my favorite Georgian dumplings called kinkali, and one of the signature marks of kinkali are that they're super peppery. So I'm gonna grind a bunch of pepper into the sauce.
Here for it.
Yeah, Jeremy, I actually think this is like gonna be really your taste. I think you're gonna really like this.
And it smells great in here.
Our last step is the heavy cream.
Okay.
You ready for it?
Nope, because I don't know how much I'm supposed to put in.
We're putting in half a cup. Look at you caring about measurements and shit.
The dairy seems like something I should know. It's hard to eyeball heavy cream into the sauce.
Just go for it. Go for it.
No. Oh, fucker.
Oh God. Uh-oh.
Bye.
Stand by, guys. I'll keep you entertained. So if you can take a look at my ragu, the cream just made it turn a nice creamy color. It's a little orange from the spices like the paprika and the chili flakes. I'm gonna grate some cheese into my sauce to help it thicken up. All right, perfect. So I am against the use of a colander, but I also do not have the spider strainer down here. So test your pasta. It should be pretty good because it's gonna kind of finish cooking up in the sauce. All right, pasta goes directly into the skillet. And then just basically mix it around and allow the sauce to kind of thicken with the pasta so that it forms a nice creamy ragu and coats each noodle.
Mm.
And then this is so simple. That's it. It's very much a dump and stir recipe. And then you plate it up. And when we plate it up, we're just going to serve it with cilantro and cheese.
I mean, like, how many recipes are in your cookbook if people can purchase it?
There are 15 recipes. There are a few dry pasta recipes like this one, utilizing pasta from a box. There's some fresh pasta projects. I walk you guys in detail through the process of making fresh pasta dough and different pasta recipes. And then I ended on one simple dessert recipe that I learned here in Brazil. For brigadeiros, for any South American people here, brigadeiro is one of the best. It's like a homemade chocolate fudge ball. All right, there we are. White ragu.
It's very good.
How do you like? It's really good, right? I love the
It's great.
cumin. It's my cumin and cilantro are the best.
It's making me sweat. I put in a lot of pepper flakes, and it's just hot in my apartment. I'll turn on the air in my apartment. Hold on. I told you it's hot in New York City today. Now you're saying it hotter by cooking all this warm pasta. I feel like this is a sauce too that, like, if I put in the fridge and heat up tomorrow, those flavors just gonna like intensify even more.
100%. It's actually so good because the sauce like soaks into the pasta, so the pasta itself is flavorful. Definitely add some cheese on top if you eat it the next day.
Okay.
It's good. Perfect. I think that's, so for everyone listening, thank you for tuning in. If you're interested in this recipes like this one and other recipes, other pasta recipes, you can go to emilyfedner.com/pasta. My pasta ebook is very personal. It's not, a lot of the recipes really speak to my experience as the child of Soviet refugees. A lot of the recipes are based on my own flavors and tastes, and I worked really hard to put something really awesome together for you guys. I'm excited to give back to the undocumented workers as well. So emilyfedner.com/pasta.
Is Columbus closer to Cleveland or Cincinnati?
Is what? Columbus is closer to Cincinnati. I think it's an hour and a half away from Cincinnati and like 2.5 hours from Cleveland. Columbus is right in the center though, because Columbus is central Ohio.
What's the Cincinnati dish, like the skyline? What the fuck is that?
Skyline chili. Ooh, so good. Spaghetti with chili on top and cheddar cheese.
You should do like a fancy version of that.
That is so good. You know, it's so funny because that, as much as that was like, it's such an Ohioan dish, but my family's Russian. Like, not that I really grew up eating that. Like at all, ever.
Does anyone actually eat that?
Yeah, 100%. What do you mean? People eat that.